Hey everybody, Bill Utenage bringing you Training Thursday. And today's topic, what I want to talk about is having a consistent follow-up system. Okay. I was in a group, it is a real estate related group on Facebook, and they're talking about somebody was sharing, and there's like, hey, I'm just not getting the number of referrals that I think, that I should be getting. And there's a lot of different reasons, right? Fear of asking, we could list, numerous ones. But what I wanted to share with you today that I shared inside of this group is really is the inconsistency that I see that business service-based business owners, commission salespeople, whatever, and it doesn't really matter even what industry that you're in, is having consistent interaction with their clients. And this is something if you've been in my ecosystem for any amount of time to know that I'm huge on this. Obviously, of having a database of people, we have to have that. But it's that follow up, because the issue is that we do a great job. I'll use real estate because that's the context of which I come out of. I coach people in insurance and financial services, mortgage, all of that. But from a real estate standpoint, especially because with real estate is that unlike insurance and financial services, where there's reoccurring income because there's policy renewals, investments, and those kind of things, where with us in mortgage and those inside of the real estate world, is that people will close on that property, and they're not going to turn around. There's not going to be repeating income coming off of that every single month. And so why it's so important for us to have consistent follow-up, and this is within any industry, is that what happens is we do a great job for people, but they're not thinking about us typically after the transaction. Now, the difference of inside of financial services or even in insurance is that there's probably going to be more opportunities for connection, right? Because you have their policy, you have their investments, and that's why it's super important in those industries, to make sure that you're having those touch points, because the more of those that you do, the more top of mind that you can stay. And what I see is that so many times we do a great job during the transaction, and then as soon as it closes, then we say thank you, we give them a closing gift, whatever that may look like, and we may reach out to them maybe a couple of times a year. What I've seen in the time of me coaching those in the service-based industry is it's an average of maybe 4 to 8 times a year on average. And this isn't people just brand new into the industry. And so the key piece of this is that we have to be consistent in that follow-up. Now, we have to be careful of that consistency is not us hammering them every month, calling them three times a month to ask them, hey, who do you know that's looking to buy or sell or invest in real estate or needs a mortgage or whatever, needs insurance. It's bringing them value, right? And I'm not going to go deep inside of that in today's training, but what I want you to be thinking about, I want you to be looking at your own business right now is going, hey, where am I consistent in staying in contact? Because there's been numerous of studies have shown, especially in the real estate world, is like 80+% of people were happy with the agent that they used, but they didn't stay. They couldn't name them after a few months of who they worked with. Again, because they're not thinking about us all the time. And the mindset that we get in as a service-based provider is, well, we don't want to feel like we're needy or that we're desperate, so we're not reaching out to them. The issue of it is that as long as we're bringing them value in their lives, and that can look at a lot of different ways. There's trainings that I've done on that part of it. But what I want to really just kind of share with you guys today, just to have you just be looking in your business and going, what does that look like? Ask yourself and be honest. It's like, how many times are you reaching out and connecting with your database per year? And it's pretty simple. I mean, you should be able to look at those numbers and go, okay, what's my system behind that? And a lot of times there's not a system. And that's why when you're doing a great job, that your referrals are all over the place, right? You may get a bunch. And this is where a lot of people will push back on when we talk about, running a referral based business, is they're like, yeah, but that's, you can't plan on that. You can't, that there's no consistency in that. You never know when those are going to come. I will agree to that to a certain point. But what I also know is that if we will build a system, right? We have a database, we will feed it, we will send the item value to that over consistency. Is I prove this, and I've seen in my own real estate business, is for about every 8 to 10 people, okay, that were in our database, I knew that was going to turn into a closed transaction. And we tracked those numbers, and it was like clockwork. I could look at this. This is how we built so much consistency inside of our business, because we knew it's like, okay, we want to do more business. We want to then add more people to our database and connect with them on a consistent basis. And it would turn into those numbers. And I'm not the only one that's done that. I have clients that have done that, others in other industries, as well, because it becomes somewhat of a mathematical. Now, it may change a little bit depending on industry, depending on what your price point is. In real estate, that's a little bit different. Mortgage, insurance, because we do have recurring income that comes off of your policy renewals and those kind of things. Same thing with with financial services. But the key piece of this is that if I stay in where this is really super important, and I'm not going to say more important than it is in real estate and in mortgage, but those any business that you're in, that you have recurring income, that you have people that are on policies, is that we want to keep them happy, because it's more expensive for us to go out and replace them if they decide, and I coach people in the insurance world, where it's like, if I lose that person, okay, and let's just say that client is worth to me, $1,500 a year, okay, and I lose that, not only have I lost that client and that income, I've got to go out now replace that person. And how long does that take to get that now? And to replace them is only getting me to even, versus me doing a great job and staying in contact with them, bringing value. And I'll give you an example of this, is that I have our insurance that we have our home with, is that I have never had any contact from the insurance company, other than when the hurricane came. We live in Southwest Florida. After I filed a claim, then they wanted to reach out to me, but never in the 2 years prior to that, roughly, had they ever reached out to me. And I think they were referred to us, if I remember. And then we wrote with them, and then never followed up. So I share this with you is that I have no allegiance to this company at all. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you my agent's name for our homeowners. Now, our homeowners policy is a different company than our auto insurance. And the reason that is, and if you're watching me anywhere in the country, like, well, why don't you just bundle it and keep it together? I live in the state of Florida. Depending on the age of your home, as certain carriers don't insure in the state of Florida based upon age of home. So that's the reason why. So our auto carrier, much different. When I know the person, I've got his cell phone number. Actually, I just got a call. I just got a call today from yesterday from his office saying, "Hey, we want to sit down with you and review the policy. Make sure that you're insured correctly, the way that you should be." Right? Notice the difference inside of that. I have no loyalty or allegiance to my homeowner's insurance company, and I'll more than likely, when I get my new roof put on because of the hurricane, they're in the process of doing that right now, I will shop that insurance company because I have no allegiance to them at all. None. And it's different from my auto insurance because I know my agent. I know who he is. They stay in contact. I believe they're looking out for me. And so it's different. And so I want to share that, with you, because a lot of times is that, we look at this and we kind of forget, because I think sometimes we take things for granted. The other kind of misconception or myth, if you will, what happens is that, hey, because I did a great job for them, they're going to remember that and then they're going to refer me. It's not true. It just doesn't work that way because there's so much other things going on. It's our responsibility is to one, teach my client how I work, and then how would they refer me? Right? We understand it, but it's not common knowledge to them on how that would work unless we share that with them. So that's what we have to do. But the key piece of this is having consistent, right? Having a consistent follow-up and to automate as much as that as we possibly can and not have to, not have to think about that. Right. We go, oh, I haven't reached out to my database in a while. Maybe I should go and do that. And then, we think it's only been 3 months and it's been a year since we've done that. And then we wonder why that we get a cancellation notice from our policy holder that they're leaving. And it's because, well, I didn't reach out to them. They didn't feel valued. There was no allegiance. There was nothing there. So they're going to either meet somebody that they like better, they develop a relationship with. Could be a cheaper rate. But I will tell you this, and I believe that most of us are this way, is if it's harder. So I'm going to go back to is it harder for me to leave my homeowner's insurance company that I have no relationship with, whatever, couldn't pick my agent out in a lineup, or my auto insurance, who I know my auto insurance agent, Greg, which one's going to be harder for me to leave over if I were to find out that I could get that insurance cheaper? Yeah. I mean, for most people are going to say the one that you don't have a relationship with. It's like, it's easy. I'm like, hey, I'm out. I'm going with this other company. I got to call Greg up and kind of go, hey, Greg, so, we're looking to go to whatever, XYZ, insurance company, on that. And so, not to say that people don't do that, because it does happen, but it's harder. It's to do that, especially if the cost, like with me, is I'm always going to stay with somebody that I believe, that I know, like, and trust, even if that cost is maybe 10 or so percent, more. Now, if it's a huge drastic, like it's, hey, this 30, 40, 50% different, then that's a conversation that I would have my agent going, hey man, I love you, but hey, can we look at this, right? And have a conversation. This is what's going on, this, hey, is this apples to apples in these policies? But I give you these real world examples because this is what's going on in my world right now. I'm just waiting, to be honest, now, if I can't get insurance, right, a better rate for same coverage, then would I stay with them? I don't know, probably, but more than likely, it's going to go up. It's Florida, and it's going to. And I would rather give my business to someone that I feel wants it and wants to earn it, right? Because I'm in contact with a lot of people, and I could be sending referrals if I even knew who my homeowner's insurance company, my agent was. But that may have stayed in contact, and I know we refer our auto agent, right? So it's just, this is how it works. And this is going on right now, whether you believe it or not. It's going on in your life and in your business for sure. And so, there's an old saying, squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, that's what having consistent follow-up is. It's just letting them know, it's like, hey, I'm here, but it's not doing that in a way where we're like, asking them nonstop. And that's around building them value, is what I teach, in my world of how do I bring that value, and then how do I ask for a referral in the right way that's going to get people to want to refer me and to help me. But the issue of it is that I'm going to lead with value first versus just always be asking them, staying in contact with them. Because the last thing you want is you reach out to one of your past clients, or even your current clients, which is even worse. And they're like, who is this? Right? That's a problem. That means you have done not a great job of staying in contact with them. And so that's what I've got for you in today's training, is looking at this. What I want you to do is look at this and go, hey, when was the last time that I've talked to people in my database? And if you've got them sorted the way I teach, all of that, your A clients, B's and C's, but just if you're not in my world, and depending on where you're watching this right now, is go back and look at that. That's super important. And if you haven't started, And start today. It's like if you're not sending them something, I always say, the easiest place to start is email, but making sure you're sending them the right type of email. Not all about you. This is the problem that we make is like, I'm great, I'm wonderful, I won all these awards and blah, 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 right? Nobody cares. They just don't. They only care if somehow that affects them in a positive way, and that's what I help people do, with that. But I wanted you to. So what I was just. This is like fresh on my mind today, and so I thought this would be a great topic for today's training. And so I want you to review that. If you got questions, you want help, you got something around. That's what I do. Is I help. At the end of the day, because I've been doing it for 30 plus years, I've been right where you're at, and I've done a lot of things wrong. That's how I learned it. Is like going, wow, okay. I thought they would just refer me because I'm great and wonderful. And that may be the case. You probably are great and wonderful. But if they don't remember you and you're not bringing value to them, especially in today's world, there's 10,000 other things that are vying for their attention. So that's what I've got for you today. Get consistent with your follow-up and your engagement with your database. And it will turn your referrals definitely around for the better. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you on the next training. Bye-bye.